Somos una presentación de Conéctate a Internet con Meshtel, de Futures Design y Faceta Gráfica. Regresamos y lo hacemos en grande, convertidos ahora sí en una marca que busca mostrarles a ustedes todo lo que pasa entre una pelota y un estadio. Esto es posible gracias a un maravilloso equipo de trabajo, excelentes personas, amigos y familiares que me han apoyado a que todo esto sea posible. Empezando por Julio Riera, nuestro director creativo, Darwin Pinto Vaamonde, nuestro productor, a Jorge Valera y su equipo de trabajo en Faceta Gráfica, autores de aquel logo corpóreo que ustedes ven en la pared. Y también a Paula Fabrón, que además de ser mi novia, es una de las líderes del proyecto que hemos realizado en Futures Design, junto con Lisbeth y por supuesto William Villalobos, el dueño de la empresa, que nos abrió las puertas para que podamos realizar todo esto y cumplir este sueño y llevarlo a ser realidad. También debo agradecer a estupendos amigos como Ignacio Serrano y Fran Monroy, quienes con su amistad y sus consejos profesionales, de verdad que me han apoyado muchísimo en mi crecimiento y en todo lo que me han respaldado para que todo esto sea posible. También a Samuel Moscatel, quien es uno de nuestros patronos en Patreon, quien con su apoyo también contribuye a que esto sea una realidad. Esperemos que de ahora en adelante ustedes sigan disfrutando de todo el contenido y que podamos mostrarles a ustedes esa cara que hemos venido exhibiéndoles acerca de todos sus ídolos que tantas alegrías les ha brindado en su deporte favorito. Ahora tendremos más porque vamos a estar analizando también lo que ocurra en los diferentes deportes y que sea relevante reseñar constantemente, no solamente en YouTube, también en nuestra cuenta de Instagram y en nuestras redes sociales. Yo soy Marcos Grunfeld, esto que ustedes ven es de Beatwriter, mi canal de YouTube. Espero que se suscriban dándole al botón rojo debajo de la pantalla del video y a la campanita para que les lleguen las notificaciones cada vez que subamos contenido. El primer ídolo que ustedes van a ver en esta nueva etapa es uno que se ganó el corazón de los valencianos y de los maracayeros, porque fue protagonista del primer título de la dinastía de los Tigres de Aragua. Y también después se convirtió en una importante figura de los Navegantes del Magallanes. Hoy le damos la más cordial bienvenida a Michael Ryan, el soldado, a continuación en esta nueva etapa de Beatwriter. Mike, thank you for accepting the invitation. Thank you for joining me. How do you remember your experience in Venezuela? What Venezuela meant for you? You play a lot here for years with Tigres and Magallanes, and
yeah.
And the idea is to remember what Venezuela meant for you, and thank you for accepting the invitation. Welcome to my YouTube channel. Is called The Beatwriter, and thank you for joining me, Mike. It's a pleasure.
Yeah, well, thank you. Thank you very much for having me. It's a pleasure to be able to sit here and talk to you, especially about, my experiences with playing in Venezuela. To this day, some of my greatest memories of playing the game were made in Venezuela. It was something that I looked forward to going down after every season was to play in Venezuela. The culture there was amazing. My teammates really, made me feel comfortable, and just the special relationships that I was able to make there. Baseball was very intense. And it's almost like you fell in love with the game again. Every game mattered. Every season was so important. So I tell players that I manage to this day, I would have never made it to the major leagues if I'd never played in winter ball or never played in Venezuela. It felt like you had to be on top of your game each night, and it was so much fun, and it's something I'll never forget.
Before we're going to remember your career in Venezuela, I know that you left, that you parted ways with Altuna Curve, and
Yeah.
you was hired by the Chicago Cubs to manage the AA affiliate. How rough was this year? Because you spent 12 years with the Pirates.
Yeah.
And how rough was, after 12 years in a row with the Pirates, how rough was this year with no minor league season?
Yeah, it was, the season started right in spring training, just like normal. And, all of a sudden the virus hit, and it was 2 weeks into spring training that, we didn't know what was going to happen. We didn't know if spring training was going to continue. We didn't know if we were going to have a season. And then all of a sudden, a minor league season got canceled. A lot of players, were unable to play this year, and I thought, it was sad. And for a player to miss a whole year and have to be sent home and become ready in case the phone call would come to maybe go to a taxi squad or to get ready for the major leagues, I'm sure that was very tough. Credit to Major League Baseball for getting through the series, or through the season. The World Series is, 2 games away, maybe 1 game away from ending. And there was a lot of people out there that honestly didn't think that there was going to be a season, number one. And if there was, that they weren't going to be able to finish one. So I think it gave everybody some hope that maybe next year will be normal, and, we can try to get a minor league season back out there, and hopefully in the major leagues there will be some fans that will be able to attend and get back to watching, and players get back to playing the game that we love.
The Chicago Cubs talked to you about your return for the next year?
Nothing yet. I think there's a lot of things that are up in the air as far as how baseball development is going to be run next year. I know because of the virus, there's going to be a lot of cuts made. I know that there's organizations all over baseball that are going to have to make some cuts. So everybody's just sort of in a waiting period to see, how everything's going to be run, and, how many cuts they're going to have to make. So, I'm sitting on the edge of my seat, wondering if I'll be with the Cubs, or, hopefully, if not, then I can go to some other organization and continue to manage.
Was difficult for you, Mike, to leave the Pirates organization, because you spend a lot of time with them?
Yeah, I think the most difficult part was, I built so many relationships with other coaches and managers, and, just people in the organization. And, that's what I miss the most. When you're somewhere for a long time, those people that you build relationships with, you consider them your family, and to not be able to be around them at the moment, that was tough. And you have to understand, though, that, baseball, it's part of the business, especially as coaches. Everyone has told me, you get hired to get fired. So it's part of the business. And, luckily the Cubs saw enough in me to try to bring me in, and we'll see where it goes from there.
What is the most important thing that excites you the most to be in the Chicago Cubs organization? What player do you think is the most exciting for them for the future in the time that you spend with the organization and you have the opportunity to watch?
Yeah, so I wasn't, like I said, I was only there for about 2 weeks. I got to see maybe 3 or 4 of spring training games just with the with the major league team. But the players that they have there, they're, you can pick out of a hat who you think is amazing there because they're all very good. I remember having conversations with Wilson Contreras in the cages, and we were talking about playing in Venezuela, and he, this guy's a major league all-star Gold Glove winning catcher, and he comes up to me and says, "Hey, I remember you playing in Venezuela." So that made me feel pretty good, and that made me watch how he goes about his business. And that guy is an absolute superstar. Not only what he does on the field, but what he does off. He's a great teammate. Somebody that the Chicago Cubs are very excited to have in their organization and to be behind the plate for a very, very long time. And, I don't play favorites, but, just because of those, conversations I had, he was my favorite. So for him to take the time to come up to me and start a conversation, I root always from afar. I thought he was a tremendous player. And now, I can root for him up close and just root every day for the guy. And, I just think he's an amazing player. He can do some things behind the plate that nobody can do in the major leagues. And he shows his emotions on his sleeve. He wants to win every night. And he's just an amazing player and a superstar in the game.
Do you talk with him about the Winter League? Because maybe he watched you play when he was a kid.
Yeah, that was the conversation, that started everything. He goes, "I remember watching you play." And so, that's what started the whole conversation one day in the batting cages before he was doing his pregame routine and things like that. So, it made you feel pretty good that you might have accomplished some things in winter ball, but, also made you feel pretty old because, when guys tell you, "Hey, I remember watching you when I was little," so it makes you feel pretty old. But it was a special conversation that I got to have with them and something I'll never forget.
Do you ever thought to manage here in Venezuela, Mike, after everything that you have done here in the Winter League?
Absolutely. That's, one of the goals that once I became a minor league manager was to try to someday get an opportunity to manage in winter ball, Venezuela, wherever. I know it will make you better. I know to try to, manage a roster of, 25, 35 players per night when it switches each day and try to match up through bullpen. I know it would make you a better manager. So it's always an opportunity that I wanted to try to get. There's only so many of those jobs available, and I know how, great managers are in those leagues, and it's really hard to get in, and, maybe someday, but it's something that I can always shoot for.
In the Major League Baseball, do you dream with that?
Absolutely. I think any minor league manager out there, I think their ultimate goal is to become a major league manager, there's only 30 of them. So, the chances are slim, but, in order for you to accomplish great things, I think that you need to set your goals high. And, if I don't ever become a major league manager, I'd like to become maybe a coordinator or just a major league coach or anything, just to try to get back to the major leagues and do something special to impact players and help an organization win a World Series. So we'll see.
Mike, do you remember how was the first time that you have the opportunity to came to Venezuela in 2001 with the Tigres de Aragua? How was the idea to come here to play in the Winter League with the Tigres de Aragua in the first place?
I remember I was in AA with the Minnesota Twins, and they had a relationship with the Tigres. And, we had some minor league coaches that were on staff with the Tigres. So when I was asked to play winter ball, that was the team that I was going to play for. And right when I got there, it was very comfortable, not only because of the other players that made you feel comfortable, but, you know, I saw some familiar faces with some coaches that we had in spring training and with the Minnesota Twins. So it was great. You know, I got to play for Buddy Bailey, who is a minor league manager in the Cubs system. So we got to catch up in spring training a little bit. And it was just so familiar, and it was very comfortable for me. And I give credit to all the teammates that I had. You know, we had a close-knit group in Aragua, and I think that that's why they were so successful. And, you know, I came in just wanting to do my part. I didn't think that I was, just because I was an American coming to play, I didn't think that I was any better. And I found that out right away, first day. Like, you know, you got a lot of work to do in order to try to compete in this league. And I think my teammates making me feel comfortable and showing me the ropes, I think that really helped. And I'm very thankful.
What was the impact for you to come here? I guess that you saw the fan base that was especially in Venezuela Winter League. How that impact to you, and how do you remember your first day here, arriving to Venezuela? What was the first memory that you have about that?
Yeah, it's funny because my first game in America, I was playing left field, and you know, you got the bleachers on the right of you, and there was just people throwing cups at each other, and there was a huge fight. So our bullpen was right below the fight in the stands, and so I was like, "Whoa, hold on, time out!" You know, these people are fighting over here. People are falling over the edge and things like that. And the umpire looked at me and said, "Keep playing," you know? So, you know, that was like sort of a shock to me. And then, you know, by the time my time was almost at the end in Venezuela, you would see, you know, you'd see a big fight in the stands, you know, between rival fans, and it was just a normal thing. So I'll never forget the first day. It was a huge melee out in the bleachers, and you know, I'm sitting over there like, what, are they going to stop this game or what's going on? And it was just, there was no big deal about it. And from that point on, I knew that this is going to be a little bit different. So, you know, just keep your mouth shut and play, and, you know, whatever happens will happen. But I'll never forget that.
How was to play for Buddy Bailey? Every player that I spoke with, they say that was special because Buddy Bailey didn't communicate too much with the players. But how do you remember your experience to play with for him?
Yeah, Buddy was very tough. You know, Buddy ran winter baseball like he would if he was managing in the minor leagues. I mean, we had early work every day. He expected you to do the little things correctly. He expected you to play the game the right way. And for that, I'm so thankful, because that's what, you know, you're not going down to play and be on vacation. You're going down to win. You're trying to get better. And you're trying to win a championship. And this is what you have to do in order for us to do that. I need you out there at 1 o'clock hitting early. I need you to take your ground balls. I need you out there taking your fly balls. I need you to study pitchers. You know, he was very tough. He was strict. He was very organized, and we all fell behind him in doing that. And, you know, all of a sudden there's things that Buddy Bailey taught me in winter ball that, as far as how to manage a team, that I instill today. As far as, you know, hard work's going to pay off. You know, I don't care if it's, you know, in single A, I don't care if it's Venezuela winter ball. But the hard work's going to pay off, and you're going to become a good player, and that's my job. And, you know, I'm very thankful that I got to play for Buddy. You know, he's a winner. He knows how to win, and we all knew that. So we were going to do anything that he said and asked of us.
Now, you as a manager, what do you apply to your style of game that you learned from him?
No, I just think that, you know, what I learned from Buddy is you have to show up every day, and you're going to have to work hard. You know, our job as managers are to develop players to try to get them to the major leagues and make them better. Can they impact our major league team to try to win a World Series? And hard work, you can't substitute that. You know, you got to come in, you got to be a professional, you got to get your work in order to become better. That's what I learned from Buddy. You're just not going to come in and just take 2 flips in the cage. You're not going to throw 1 baseball. You're not going to get loose and expect to have success and play. Or as everybody knows that have come to Venezuela as an imported player, you know, if you don't perform well, you're going to get sent home very quickly. It's the same thing in minor league baseball. If you don't perform and you don't work hard, you know, they're going to find somebody else to replace you. The game's going to go on, and they'll get other players that can do things better than you. So you have to constantly try to get better, and that's what I instill in our players. And, you know, that's what all of us coaches do, you know. Come to the park every day wanting to get better.
Mike, in your first year in Venezuela, you hit 10 home runs in that season. You were comfortable with the league in the very first place, in the very first year. What do you think was the key to adapt yourself very quickly to the league?
No, I just think, you know, I felt comfortable from day one. You know, of course, there's some culture shock in the way that things are run differently. But the credit is to my, like I said, my teammates and my coaches. You know, my teammates, especially my Venezuelan teammates. They really they accepted me with open arms. Something I'll never forget. And I wanted to come in and I wanted to play well. The game was so fun. Like I said, it was intense. And when you challenge yourself every day to try to become great, I think that you're going to play to the best of your ability. And that's what I wanted to do. Is I wanted to play great for my teammates. I knew how important each game was. And it was just a selfless team. I remember with the Tigres that year, guys just had each other's back. They cared about one another, and, you know, we would show up to play for one another. So credit goes to my teammates. They really made me feel comfortable, like I said. And when you feel comfortable, I think that, you know, you're going to play well.
You hit 18 home runs in AAA, and then you hit 10 home runs in the Venezuelan Winter League. Do you remember if you make any better approach or any change in your mechanics to hit more home runs that year?
No, I just, you know, I would look location. I wasn't looking a specific pitch. You know, I remember having a conversation with Zambrano, our big first third baseman, DH. He was the leader of our team, and he would just crush breaking balls. And so I had a conversation with him. I said, "Are you going up there and are you looking for your breaking ball? Because you're not missing." He goes, "I'm just looking location. I'm trusting my eyes that I can pick up a pitch out of a pitcher's hand. And if it's in that location, I feel like I can do some damage." And that conversation really helped me. And, you know, when you're looking for your location and, you know, you have a decent swing, I think that, you know, you're going to get the barrel on it more often. And just luckily balls were going out of the park, and, you know, I was able to develop some backspin, and, you know, things took off from there. So that specific conversation of not just sitting certain pitches, but going up there and looking for a location, that really helped me. And I think that that's what took me to the next level.
That year you just played two games in the playoff. Tigres went to the final.
Yeah.
Against Magallanes. Why the Minnesota Twins called you to come back to the United States, or what happened?
Yeah, the two things. I don't know if that was the year or not, but I ended up hurting my leg just a little bit at the end of the season, and then the Minnesota Twins put me on their 40-man roster, and then they wanted me to come home after that. So they didn't give me permission to stay for the playoffs.
Okay. And then you come back in 2003. In 2003, I don't know if you thought to come back in 2002, but the political situation doesn't allow you to come back that year. But you repeat in 2003.
Yeah, that's the year we won it, right? I believe 2003.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah. I remember I came later, I think, in the year. I don't think I came at the beginning.
Yeah.
So that's a long time ago. But I remember going to the finals against Caribes. I remember that. There was an unfortunate, terrible accident that we got into on the way to on an off day to Caribes, and you know, that was a tough moment. You know, it's something that I never thought that I would go through, but that was just a scary time. I don't know if you remember, but we got into a terrible bus accident. You know,
what happened in that accident? I remember, but what do you remember about that?
No, I remember we stopped to get something to eat. We got back on the bus. Probably an hour later, we were going through the mountains, and another vehicle hit our media bus that we were following. Which we had coaches, we had teammates, we had clubhouse personnel on that bus, and you know, there's some serious injuries, and you know, it's something I'll never forget. You know, I just remember everybody yelling to get off the bus. I remember people yelling to grab your pillowcases. And then when you looked out, because we just slammed on the brakes, and then when you looked out of the bus, you know, you could see what had happened. And I remember getting off the bus and just stepping on glass, and just heard a bunch of screaming and yelling, and people just going all over the place to try to help each other. And another vehicle that hit the bus, there was a woman in the front who just, it wasn't good. But you know, we're in the middle of the mountain, so it was hard to get any emergency personnel there quickly. So you know, we just tried to do the best we could and try to help everybody that was involved. And it was very scary. And you know, we were able to win the championship that year, and you know, luckily that took a little bit of the pain out of what had happened. But you know, it's something that you never forget, that you saw or you witnessed, and something that you went through with people that you care about dearly.
After the accident, and you come down, and the things come down a little bit. What the team talk in a meeting to keep things going on in the final and keep focused to try to get the championship?
Yeah, no, we met as a team the next day, and we were thinking about not playing that next day. But the guys that were involved with the accident, our veteran group, wanted to know that they talked to some of them, that they said, play, you know, that's what we would want you to do. I know Estrada had a terrible injury in that accident, but he wanted us to play. So we ended up playing. We had some motivation, and you know, we played great as a team, and we had, you know, we wanted to do it for everybody that was involved with that accident, and we wanted to do it for the city of Maracay, and we were able to pull it out and played very good. You know, I remember Cabrera having a great series, and it was a lot of fun. I remember after coming back home to Maracay with the huge party and the reception that we got, you know, it was amazing.
But what do you remember about that championship? Do you have any memorabilia or anything that reminds you about that championship?
Yeah, see, I don't want to get in trouble, but you know, I kept my jersey that year, so you know, I took it with me. But I remember one of my teammates, when I saw him in the States the next year. He goes, "Hey, you took your jersey with you?" Because they were looking for it. And I said, "Yeah, I took it, so I'm not giving that one back." So I kept the jersey. You know, anytime I've been on a championship team, I try to steal the jersey, not steal it, but I try to just keep it with me. Luckily, I have that one. I have a frame down in the basement, so that's what I got to keep.
What meant for you to play with Miguel Cabrera, Juan Rivera? When you come back with Magallanes, you play with Jose Altuve, those kind of stars in Major League Baseball. What meant for you?
You know, it meant so much. You know, it was such a great opportunity to learn from superstars in the major leagues. How they go about their business. Conversations that I could have with them, like, what are you thinking up at the plate? And just how much passion, and, you know, these are major league superstars that are making insane amount of dollars in the United States and have so much passion to play for their city and play in winter ball in Venezuela. And it was amazing to me to watch how they go about their business and how serious they took those games. And it just made you feel like that you had to become better, and to try to compete with those guys each night was an honor. And, you know, iron sharpens iron, man. You play against great players, you're going to become great, and you better, they're going to embarrass you. So I tried to compete with those guys, and some nights it didn't go very well, but to play against that competition, it made me a better player.
Mike, in November 2001, you hit this for the cycle. Do you remember that game? You are the only player that hit for the cycle with two different teams in Venezuela Winter League, and not too much players hit for the cycle twice in the league. Do you remember those games?
Yeah, the first one was in Caracas. Yeah, I remember. It seemed, I remember the feet. I don't remember like the order of what I hit first and what I needed. I remember the first time that I did it with the Tigres. I think I needed a double. I didn't even realize that I was a double short of it or shy of it. And when I hit a double, I saw everybody in the dugout going crazy, and I didn't know what was going on because, you know, I think it was like a game we were winning like 13-5. So there wasn't anybody on base. So I don't know why there was that much excitement. And, you know, I was new that year, and I wasn't sharp on my Spanish at the time. So I didn't know what was being said or anything. But when I came back to the dugout, then I found out, you know, dude, you just hit for the cycle. You had no idea. I was like, oh no, I had no idea. But the second time with Magallanes, I remember like it was yesterday. I know I needed a triple. And I hit a ball in the gap, and I legged it out. You know, I was old then. I was my last years of playing baseball, and I haven't hit a triple in a long time. So, you know, it's not like I couldn't run the way I used to, but I laid down a triple, and I knew right away that I needed a triple, so I got it. And I think it was in the fifth inning. It was early. I think I did it in my first 4 at bats. So the next day is when I found out, you know, I was the only guy so far that was fortunate enough to do it with 2 different teams.
Esta entrevista que ustedes escuchan con Michael Ryan, el soldado, el jugador que vino con los Tigres de Aragua y los Navegantes del Magallanes, también fue refuerzo en una oportunidad de los Leones del Caracas, llega a ustedes gracias a Meshtel. Meshtel es una empresa de internet de alta velocidad que ofrece de 5 a 100 megas de velocidad de conexión, y que desde que estoy trabajando con ellos, la verdad que podemos ser mucho más productivos y trabajar mucho mejor gracias a su gran velocidad y sobre todo la estabilidad que nos ofrecen la conexión a internet. Ellos funcionan en Caracas y La Guaira. Si están interesados, me pueden escribir en mis redes sociales y yo les doy toda la información sobre Meshtel, los precios y cómo comunicarse con ellos. Si necesitas conexión de internet de alta velocidad, conéctate con Meshtel. You spent like 5 years with no coming back to Venezuela, and then you signed with Magallanes. Why do you spend so much time without coming to Venezuela after you have a successful career here? And how was the idea to come back with Magallanes?
You know, when I was just a minor league free agent, I was bouncing around different clubs, and, you know, honestly, I don't think any Venezuelan teams wanted me to come down at the moment to play. You know, I didn't have very good minor league seasons to even value to come play down there. And then in 2000, I think 9 or 10, when I had a really good minor league season, I got back to the major leagues, and then Magallanes came and offered me a pretty good amount of money to come and play. And, you know, I was just getting married, and I was just starting to have a family, and, you know, as a minor league player, not making very much, and, you know, the money was very good. So yeah, I wanted to come and try it again. And, you know, so thankful that I did, because I had a blast, and it was, you know, just like I remembered when I was younger in my career, and it was just so much fun to play there, and, you know, why not give it another try? So, you know, I'm glad I did.
You heard about Caracas Magallanes games when you came with the Tigres. What do you don't experience that kind of games when you were with the Tigres? How do you remember your first game against Los Leones?
Yeah, I remember when I was with the Tigres, it was an amazing atmosphere when Caracas or Magallanes would come to Maracay. You know, they'd pack it in. It was a jammed house. And so to experience those two teams coming in and to see that atmosphere, people would always tell me, you know, you can see when they play each other. It's crazy. So the first game, you know, the Caracas Magallanes game that I was involved with, you think that you're prepared for that. And you think that because of the stories that you heard, or, you know, there were times I would turn the TV on and see those games, but it didn't prepare you for it. So just the intensity of each pitch, each play, each hit, it was crazy. And during the regular season, each game was back and forth, back and forth, back and forth. You know, it seemed like, you know, it was almost like watching these World Series games right now. Like, that's how every game against Caracas was. And then when we get to the finals, of course we're gonna match up in the finals that year. You know, it went all the way to a seven game series. I remember the country shutting down for each game. You know, there wasn't much to do out there because everybody was going to the games or watching it. So, you know, it was tough to lose, but, you know, Caracas played unbelievable. Blanco, when he hit the home run off a K-Rod, you know, I thought maybe that was going to change the series a little bit deep down inside, because we were just about to go up 3-1, and I think that we could have had a good chance of maybe closing out that series, you know, especially because it was going back to Valencia. But, yeah, you know, they cut it to 3-2 after the Blanco home run, and then, you know, we cleared the benches because the tempers got going, and then I think it was a closer game in Game 6, but then they took over at the end. I think it was like an 8-5 win for them, and then Game 7, that game was over in like the 3rd inning. They just came out and just Castillo hit a homer, I believe. Kroger had back-to-back doubles and 2 at-bats and 4 RBIs real quick. And, you know, that was just trying to get to the finish line because it was like a 12-5 butt kicking. But I'll never forget the series, and for us to be able to meet in the finals, that was so much fun looking back on it now. But to experience those games, it was such one of my most amazing experiences I've ever had, to be able to play in a Caracas Magallanes game.
After the Gregor Blanco home run against K-Rod, what changed in the Magallanes dugout? How that hit in the team, in the mood of the team?
You know, it was obviously, you knew, you know, and I tell the truth, you know, you knew that the momentum was going to change now, because that might have been one of the biggest home runs in Caracas history, to be honest with you. Like, I honestly thought maybe that series would be over if he doesn't do that, because like I said, we were going to go up 3-1. We were going back home with 2 chances to close it out, and I thought we were in a good position. But when he hit, I mean, I was just saying about how that was a tough game to try to come back from, and you could feel that the momentum was swinging, that it was going to be tough to get it back. You know, it was such a big home run off a great closer and from a great player, and you know, it was a quiet bus ride on the way home, but you know, we knew that we were going back home and we had a chance. We only had to win one of the next 2 to try to close the series out. And, you know, just that gave Caracas a ton of belief, and they stepped up their game, and it really wasn't close after that. But you know, it was, like I said, it was fun to play in. It was one of the best experiences that I've ever had, besides having 2 sons and getting married. But it's something I'll never forget, to be able to play in one of those games and in that series.
When you going back to Valencia, the series was in favor of Magallanes, 3-2. You just need one game to win the championship. What the team talked in the post when you going back to Valencia? What do you think that what happened because Caracas won the following 2 games as a visiting team? What do you think that the team wasn't able to perform very well in Valencia?
Yeah, when we lost the series, you mean?
Yeah,
yeah. Like I said before, like, it's the block home run. That was a tough thing to try to come back from. You know, it was such a momentum changing thing. You think that you're going to go up 3 games to 1 and you can go back home and, you know, we're going to have a good opportunity to win the championship at home. And we're 1 game away. They got to beat us 3 times. You know, it's just didn't think that, not that that was possible, but they were going to have a tough time doing that. But then all of a sudden, you know, you go back home, or, you know, instead of up 3-1, it's 2-2 now, or whatever, you know, the series 3-2. That's a tough thing to come back from. But, you know, I remember Carlos Garcia saying, "Hey, it's only 1 game. You know, we'll be fine. We got, you know, 2 more cracks at it. Hopefully we can get it done tomorrow." And Caracas they lifted their game up and they played so well. And, you know, they were making unbelievable plays. They were getting timely hits. Their pitching was spectacular. The guys that they were bringing out of the pen were shutting us down whenever we had guys on base. So, you know, it's sort of the momentum roller coaster that we just couldn't stop. And, you know, credit to Caracas, because they played an amazing series. And, you know, that's what it took to win a championship and to win the finals. And looking back at it, all you gotta do is tip your hat to them. You know, they played outstanding.
You was in the game that Anthony you threw the no-hitter against Leones. That was another great game for Magallanes. From that game, this year will be 10 years from that game. I talked with Anthony and Robinson Chirinos, that was the battery for that game a month ago when the virus hit every one of us. But what do you remember from that game? Because this year we will celebrate 10 years from that feat from Anthony Leroux.
Yeah, be honest with you, I left the day before that game to go home because I was having my 2nd son. So my wife was pregnant and we were going to have our 2nd son. So I left, and the day before my son was born, Anthony threw the no-hitter, and you know, I remember I was getting phone calls like, Leroux just pitched a no-hitter. It was outstanding. But that's the only thing I remember, is I got the phone call afterwards. I wasn't there for that, but
okay.
What an amazing accomplishment.
I didn't remember that.
Yeah.
What city do you enjoy the most, Mike? Maracay or Valencia?
Oh, it's a tough one. You know, I liked them both so much. They both felt like home. You know, Valencia was beautiful. Both Maracay and Valencia are just beautiful. They're different, but they just both felt like home. I felt very comfortable in both, and you know, Maracay was great because of the fans and the close-knitness of the town, the city. Valencia much bigger, but I love them both. You know, it's hard for me to just honestly pick which one was my favorite. Maybe Maracay because less traffic.
That's
Yeah.
what do you enjoy the most in Venezuela besides baseball? What do you want? What do you like to do in the off days, and what do you enjoy the most from the country?
Well, I mean, it was fun to be able to just hang out, go eat with my teammates. We got to go golfing a couple times. You know, we'd go up to the beach. That was a lot of fun. I just remember, for some reason, like if I had a stuffy nose or if I had a bad cold, I'd go to the beach and it'd be gone the next day. So, you know, every time I had a cold, I wanted to go to the beach to try to get it out of there. For some reason, it would work. So, but it's all things that I enjoyed. You know, we didn't get too many off days. If it was an off day, it was sometimes a travel day. So, but I just loved being with my teammates, whether it was in the clubhouse, whether it was on the bus, whether it was in the hotel afterwards playing cards or messing around, or, you know, just being around each other and having a good time. And, you know, that's, I think, you just as much as playing the game, you know, I look and have those memories with my teammates, and, you know, that's what made it so special.
Mike, maybe a lot of people don't know that, but when your story about your MLB debut, because that game rained off the game, and that wasn't valid for the record books. Can you remember that that day?
Yeah. So my debut, you know, the AAA team that I was on, we won the championship. So our bunch of us, when we got called up in September, it was later in the season, and, you know, there was like 7 or 8 of us that got called up together after that season. So the major league team, the Minnesota Twins, they have already won the division. So our debut, we all got to play, most of us. You know, there was like 5 rookies in the lineup, something like that, because they were giving all the regular guys a rest because the game didn't mean anything, basically, because it was the last series of the year. And those guys were getting some rest to go into the playoffs because the division was already wrapped up. And I remember the first inning I led off and I played left field, and I got a base hit right away. So I was 1 for 1. Well, we ended up scoring 9 runs in the inning. So I got to bat twice in the first inning. So my second at bat, I had 2 guys on base, and I got a base hit up the middle and got 2 RBIs. So I had 2 hits, 2 RBIs, and then another guy. So I got brought in. So I had 2 hits, 2 RBIs, and 2 runs scored in the first inning of my major league debut. It's the first time that's ever happened. So we ended up scoring 9 runs in the first. We scored like 2 more in the second, and here comes the 4th inning. It's like 12-1. We're having a great game, and it starts to rain, and it rained so hard for so long that, you know, like I said, the game didn't mean anything. So the game got rained out, and none of it counted. So I had a pretty good debut that nobody knows about, because technically it really never happened because the rain ruined it. So that's, you know, that's what happened.
Did you keep the ball of your first hit?
No, I didn't, you know, not that time, but when I did get my first major league hit, I have that ball, but that day didn't count. So, you know, it's like it never happened. So I just left the balls there in Detroit.
How I'm asking this because Ron Gardenhire retired from baseball a couple of weeks ago, a month ago. I meant, how was to play for Ron Gardenhire, that have a lot of a great career as a baseball manager with the Minnesota Twins?
Yeah, it was an honor to play for Gardy. Like I said before, he's a lot like, you know, Buddy Bailey and him were very similar. You know, Gardy expected the best out of you every day. You better have done the little things correctly to try to get better. You better come to work every day, and you better play the right way and give it your all. You know, that's what him and Buddy are very similar as. But Gardy truly cared about each player, that that played for him. You know, he would always come out in the clubhouse and ask how everyone's doing, and you felt like he cared about you. So, you know, we would run through a wall for the guy. You know, he was just a genuine, just great human being. And when you have a coach that cares for you so deeply, you know, you'll do anything for that guy, whatever he asked. But, you know, his baseball knowledge and what he taught us, and it was just an honor to play for him. You know, it's sad to see such a great baseball man and mind retire, but you know, he has a wonderful family that he's gonna want to spend some time with, and you know, he's been in the game a long time, and a lot of us are lucky that we were able to be around him.
What do you want to say to the fans in Venezuela that remember you very well, and that you meant a lot for them, because you were so successful with the Tigres and Magallanes, and they have a very good memories from you?
Well, I mean, the passion that the fans in Venezuela have, were just, it's unbelievable. I could talk for 3 hours about how much the fans in Venezuela meant to me. Their support and what they've done for me is the reason why I wanted to play so well, and the reason why I wanted to come to play each year and each day. You know, I watched people, you know, struggle with some things, but to be able to put a smile on their face that meant a lot to me. And those people, they put a smile on my face because they were just cheering us on. And, you know, I'm so thankful for someone to know who I was, or, you know, that made me feel very good. And Venezuelan fans is people that I could relate to, you know. I felt comfortable with them, and I felt like I was one of them. You know, I root for other players, I root for other teams, and I root for our own players. So every time I would see someone outside the stadium and they, you know, they would be smiling or be happy we could have a conversation, that was truly special to me. And, you know, I want every fan to know that those conversations and then them cheering for me, I was cheering for them just as loud. So thank you to all the fans that have ever supported me and any team that I was on down there. You know, they made each trip and each season very special to me.
Thank you, Mike, for accepting the invitation, for giving me this interview. I know that this will be very special for the people in Venezuela, and I hope that you enjoyed the conversation.
I appreciate it. It was an honor to talk to you. Thank you for thinking of me, and thank you for having me. It's great to talk about those memories, and those memories I'll never forget, and you just added to that. So thank you very much.
Fue Michael Ryan, el soldado, quien estuvo con los Navegantes del Magallanes y los Tigres de Aragua hace unos años en la Liga Venezolana de Béisbol Profesional. Gran performance con ambos equipos, y que seguramente ustedes lo recuerdan con mucho aprecio y cariño por lo que hizo en la pelota rentada nacional. Yo soy Marcos Grunfeld, gracias por la sintonía. Lo que ven en pantalla también son mis redes sociales. Si quieren apoyarme en mi canal de YouTube, por favor los invito a suscribirse. ¿Cómo hacerlo? Es muy sencillo. Solamente tienen que ir debajo de la pantalla del video, darle a suscribirse, a la campanita que está al lado para que les lleguen las notificaciones cada vez que subamos un nuevo video. Y también los invito a seguirme en mi cuenta de Patreon, www.patreon.com/Beatwriter. Gracias a todos por la sintonía en nuestro canal de YouTube. Nos vemos en una próxima historia.